Welcome to the Omni Dental Podcast. By the time a child turns 3, their mouth has already fought literally thousands of microscopic acid-fueled battles.
Oh, absolutely. Thousands of them.
Right. So today, we're looking at how to give them the ultimate defense, something that builds a foundation for, literally the rest of their lives. We are talking about a child's smile.
A very, very important topic.
Yeah, more specifically, the mission of today's deep dive is unpacking how to build a rock-solid foundation for that lifelong smile by exploring the absolute best fluoride treatments for children.
It's a critical subject, especially because, well, the landscape of pediatric dental care has shifted so dramatically in recent years.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, we are operating with a much deeper understanding of the chemical reality inside a child's mouth than we were even like a decade ago.
Definitely. And to cut through the noise, our insights today are pulled directly from a highly detailed blog post by Dr. Billis Poles, alongside some really fascinating information about the comprehensive modern care model offered at Omni Dental of Arlington Heights.
Right. They do great work.
So whether you are a parent currently trying to navigate the sometimes overwhelming world of pediatric dental care, or you are simply a lifelong learner curious about modern preventative health strategies, this deep dive is going to give you the essential takeaways.
Exactly.
You're going to break down not just the options, but the actual science of defense.
Because understanding the specific mechanisms behind these treatments completely changes how you view a routine trip to the dentist.
It really does.
It elevates it from a mere chore to a highly targeted medical intervention.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we get into the actual treatments, the varnishes, the gels, we really need to understand the battlefield itself.
The environment of the mouth?
Right. I like to think of a young child's mouth like a newly built castle under constant siege.
That's a great analogy.
You have these brand new walls, the tooth enamel, but the attackers are just relentless.
Yeah.
We are talking about the sugary snacks kids love, the constant grazing throughout the day, the juices, and the defense system is notoriously weak because, let's be honest, a 3-year-old is not exactly a master of dental hygiene technique.
They definitely are not. And we all know that sugar feeds the bacteria in the mouth, which in turn produce acid.
Right.
But what is less understood is how that acid actually breaches those castle walls you mentioned.
So what actually happens on a chemical level?
Well, the enamel on our teeth is highly mineralized. It's mostly made up of a crystalline structure called hydroxyapatite.
Okay.
When the oral environment becomes acidic, specifically dropping below a pH of 5.5, those hydrogen ions from the acid literally pull calcium and phosphate minerals right out of the enamel.
Wow, just pulls it right out.
Yeah, this is demineralization. It widens the microscopic pores of the teeth, making the physical structure weaker and highly susceptible to decay.
So instead of just patching that weakened stone wall with mud, we're talking about a completely different kind of reinforcement here. I'm assuming this is where fluoride enters the chat as like a molecular mortar.
That is the perfect way to visualize it. Fluoride doesn't just sit on the surface,
Right.
On a chemical level, those fluoride ions seep into the microscopic pores you just mentioned. They replace the hydroxyl ions in the enamel to create a new compound called fluorapatite.
Fluorapatite, got it.
And fluorapatite is significantly harder and much more resistant to acid attacks than the original tooth structure. It essentially lowers the critical pH threshold required for acid to dissolve the tooth.
So we are taking the standard mortar of the castle walls and chemically transforming it into something physically harder than it was before the attack.
Yes. And doing so requires specific timing.
Okay.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, both the American Academy of Pediatrics, the AAP, and the American Dental Association, the ADA strongly recommends starting these professional treatments around age 3.
Age 3. I guarantee you there are parents listening who think, wait a minute, those are just baby teeth.
Oh, I hear that all the time.
Right. Like they're going to fall out anyway in a few years. Why invest the time, the effort, and the money into chemically reinforcing teeth that have an expiration date?
This raises an important question, and it is a psychological hurdle dental professionals navigate all the time.
I can imagine.
Historically, there was this mentality that primary teeth were disposable, but modern pediatric dentistry recognizes that treating this as just an effort to avoid a temporary cavity today is a massive miscalculation.
Why is that?
Because those primary teeth act as essential spatial guides for the permanent teeth developing underneath them in the jaw.
I see. So if a child loses a baby tooth prematurely because of severe decay, The gap doesn't just sit there waiting for the adult tooth.
No, the other teeth shift.
They show.
They drift right into that empty space. That disrupts the entire architectural landscape of the mouth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and when the prominent tooth is finally ready to erupt, its path is blocked, leading to severe crowding, impaction, and a highly complex, incredibly expensive orthodontic nightmare later on.
That makes total sense.
Furthermore, healthy primary teeth are vital for proper speech development, proper chewing, and healthy jawbone stimulation.
So it's all connected.
Exactly. Investing in these preventative treatments early on is the ultimate cost-saving measure for families, not to mention sparing a toddler from the trauma of early invasive dental surgery.
Yet nobody wants to put a 3-year-old through a root canal or an extraction if it can be prevented by simply reinforcing the enamel.
Absolutely not.
So we've established that fluoride is essentially this vital molecular armor, and that kids desperately need it early on.
Yes.
But applying that armor to a squirming, uncooperative toddler sounds like a logistical nightmare.
It used to be, for sure.
How are modern dentists actually doing this without a struggle? Because here's where it gets really interesting. I remember being a kid and having those giant, uncomfortable, gag-inducing foam trays shoved into my mouth for what felt like an eternity while a timer ticked down.
Oh, everyone remembers those trays.
Have we moved past those ancient torture devices?
We really have. The industry has evolved light years beyond those giant, generalized trays.
Thank goodness.
Modern pediatric dental care, like the approach detailed in Dr. Poles' outline, is entirely about personalization.
Okay, how so?
The delivery mechanism is tailored based on age, the specific child's decay risk, and arguably most importantly, their temperament.
I'm assuming that means a highly calibrated, fast-acting option. What does the modern arsenal actually look like?
While there are few,
Actually, just to play devil's advocate here really quick, if a parent is buying that expensive, high-quality fluoride toothpaste at the grocery store, isn't that twice-daily routine at home doing the exact same thing?
let me address the at-home routine first because it is a critical distinction.
Right.
The toothpaste you buy at the store is absolutely necessary for daily maintenance, but it is not sufficient for optimal deep protection, especially during those highly vulnerable early developmental years.
Because it's weaker.
Exactly.
Right.
The concentration of fluoride in professional clinical applications far exceeds what is legally allowed in over-the-counter products. I see.
The professional treatment provides a massive influx of minerals that the daily paste just cannot match.
Okay, so the grocery store paste is the daily maintenance crew, but the dentist is bringing in the heavy-duty construction equipment.
That's exactly right.
So walk me through the options the dentist is actually using today.
The primary go-to for young children today, and truly a revolution in pediatric dentistry, is fluoride varnish.
Varnish.
Yeah, it is a highly concentrated, sticky resin that the dentist or hygienist quite literally paints directly onto the surfaces of the teeth using a tiny, soft brush.
Wait, sticky. A resin. Doesn't a toddler immediately try to lick that off or close their mouth?
They absolutely do, which is precisely why it is engineered the way it is.
Oh, really?
The varnish is formulated to react and set rapidly the very millisecond it comes into contact with saliva.
No way.
Yes. So if the child immediately closes their mouth or their tongue sweeps across the teeth, the moisture actually helps the varnish adhere tightly to the enamel. That is brilliant chemical engineering. You don't have to negotiate with a toddler to hold still for 5 minutes while drooling into a tray.
Exactly.
You just paint it on, the saliva cures it in place, and they're good to go.
And the speed is the major psychological benefit here.
I bet.
The entire application takes maybe 30 to 60 seconds, requires almost zero cooperation from the child, and provides extended contact time, often several hours, for the tooth to deeply absorb the fluoride ions and create that fluorapatite we discussed.
Wow, that's amazing.
It dramatically reduces dental anxiety for the child because it is over before they even realize it started.
I love that. So the varnish is the MVP for the younger crowd. But what about older kids? Do the trays still exist?
They do. For older children who can comfortably follow instructions to sit still, breathe through their nose, and not swallow for a few minutes. Fluoride gel is still a highly effective clinical option. It does utilize a tray, but it is worth noting that modern trays are vastly more comfortable, flexible, and better fitted to individual jaw sizes than the rigid, one-size-fits-all plastic ones from decades ago.
That's a relief. And I noticed the sources also mentioned foam. Is that just a different texture of the gel?
Essentially, yes. Fluoride foam is an aerated version of the treatment.
Okay.
The benefit here is strictly textural. It is a lighter alternative, and some kids simply prefer the mouthfeel of the foam over the density of the gel or the lingering tackiness of the varnish.
Makes sense.
The goal is compliance. Having these options allows the clinical team to make the experience as positive and customized as possible for every individual child.
Which brings up a very natural concern for any parent listening.
Safety.
Exactly. When we start talking about highly concentrated professional applications, sticky varnishes, potent gels, the immediate next question is going to be about safety. We're talking about putting a high concentration of a chemical into a toddler's mouth. What happens if they swallow it? Because, the internet can be a very loud, very scary place when you start running web searches on fluoride toxicity.
It is a completely valid concern, and it is exactly why we rely on peer-reviewed science and the stringent guidelines set by major health authorities rather than internet forums.
So what's the verdict?
The short answer is that professional fluoride treatments are overwhelmingly safe.
Okay.
The key distinction to keep in mind is the profound difference between unsupervised, daily at-home use and controlled clinical application.
I'm assuming the difference is all about the dosage and the delivery mechanism. A pea-sized amount of at-home paste versus a highly calibrated clinic dose that is designed to stay put.
You hit the nail on the head. When a professional applies a fluoride varnish, they are using carefully controlled, age-appropriate, pre-measured doses.
Right.
The amount used is exactly calibrated to provide maximum remineralization to the enamel while remaining well below any toxicity threshold, strictly adhering to conservative ADA safety guidelines.
Because the varnish sets instantly with saliva, it just stays on the tooth. It isn't mixing into a big pool of liquid in their mouth that they're tempted to gulp down.
Precisely. It is a targeted, localized therapy, not a systemic one. Very little of the varnish ever mixes with saliva to be swallowed.
That's good to know.
But, and this is the crucial reassurance for parents, even if a child does happen to swallow the tiny residual amounts during the application process, it poses absolutely no risk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the total volume introduced into the mouth is simply too small to cause any adverse effects.
That makes total sense. The dentist isn't handing the kid a cup of high-strength fluoride and telling them to swish.
Definitely not.
It's painted on, it sticks, it does its chemical magic locally on the surface of the tooth.
And to maintain those optimal fluoride levels in the enamel without risky overexposure, the standard protocol dictates that these professional treatments should happen twice a year.
Okay, twice a year.
Yes, which perfectly coincides with regular 6-month preventative dental checkups.
Which is incredibly convenient to track. And as a quick logistical note drawn from the sources, because this is so universally recognized by the medical community as essential preventative care, the vast majority of dental insurance plans fully cover these twice-yearly applications for children.
That's right, they do.
So the safety is heavily documented, the chemical science is proven, and the financial aspect is entirely manageable.
It really is a win-win.
But, knowing the science of the molecular mortar and the safety protocols is fantastic. But it leaves you with a very practical problem.
Finding the right clinic.
Exactly. You need a clinical team that actually operates on this advanced level. You need a practice that doesn't just slap on some gel, but actually integrates this into a broader philosophy of care.
Which is why examining a practice like OmniDental is so illustrative of what modern comprehensive dental care should actually look like.
Let's talk about them. OmniDental is located at 305 E. Rand Road in Arlington Heights, Illinois. They are led by Dr. Bellis Poles.
Yes, they are.
And looking at their service footprint, they are really acting as a major health hub for the region. They serve Arlington Heights and a massive footprint across the greater northwest suburbs of Chicago.
It's a huge area.
We are talking about thousands of families relying on one clinic for their foundational oral health. They cover Buffalo Grove, Palatine, Mount Prospect, Rolling Meadows, Schaumburg, Wheeling, Des Plaines, and Elk Grove Village.
What's fascinating here is how they manage that wide-scale community reach while maintaining a very intimate patient-first philosophy.
How do they balance that?
Well, when you analyze their clinical approach, they don't treat applying fluoride as just a transactional check-the-box service. They integrate it into a comprehensive care model.
Meaning they look at the big picture.
Right. This means they are analyzing the whole patient, offering a continuity of care that stretches from a toddler getting their very first varnish application all the way up to seniors requiring complex prosthodontics.
That continuity is huge for building trust. If a parent trusts Dr. Poles and his team with their own complex dental work, they are going to feel infinitely more comfortable bringing their squirming 3-year-old in for that crucial early fluoride treatment.
The anxiety is just lower for everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
And they back up that patient-first mentality with advanced dental technology.
Oh, nice.
This isn't just about offering comfortable chairs, it is about clinical precision. Advanced diagnostic tools allow a team like OmniDental to pinpoint a child's specific decay risk much earlier than traditional methods.
And uniquely, and this really stood out in the source material, they are deeply committed to environmentally conscious, sustainable practices.
Which is so rare.
I have to admit, that is rare to see highlighted in a dental practice. Usually, medical facilities generate an incredible amount of single-use waste and chemical runoff.
It is a phenomenal initiative. While the specific proprietary tech isn't listed, a modern green dental office typically achieves this through several massive operational shifts.
Like what?
For example, moving entirely away from traditional film x-rays, which require toxic developing chemicals and lead foils, and transitioning exclusively to digital imaging.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, digital imaging not only reduces radiation exposure by up to 90%, but it completely eliminates that toxic chemical waste stream.
I'd imagine it also extends to the physical materials they use. Moving away from those messy, single-use alginate impression molds and instead using digital intraoral scanners.
Exactly.
Or implementing high-efficiency dry vacuum systems that save thousands of gallons of water a year compared to older wet vacuum systems.
Exactly, those types of innovations. It demonstrates a forward-thinking, holistic mindset.
Yeah, it really does.
A practice that cares about the microscopic health of a child's tooth is also demonstrating care for the macro environment the child is growing up in.
It is incredibly cool to see a clinic explicitly operating with that level of awareness without compromising on the quality or the safety of their care.
It's the gold standard.
And practically speaking, for families juggling school, work, and endless activities, the sheer convenience factor is critical.
You need a place that fits your life.
OmniDental is open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Having a permanent, reliable dental home like this is vital. You don't want to bounce around between different strip mall clinics every 6 months.
No, because that continuity of care is the secret ingredient to lifelong oral health.
Right.
When a professional like Dr. Poles and his dedicated team see a child consistently over several years, they establish a baseline.
That's super important.
They can monitor minute changes in the child's enamel density, track their shifting decay risk as their diet changes, and dynamically adjust the fluoride treatment schedules if necessary.
So if a child starts drinking more sports drinks during soccer season and their risk profile goes up, the dentist already knows their history and can immediately pivot the preventative strategy.
Precisely. It takes the guesswork out of the equation for the parents and ensures the preventative strategy is actively evolving as the child grows.
So what does this all mean? Let's zoom out and pull this entire journey together.
Sounds good.
We started by looking at a young child's mouth as a vulnerable castle under relentless microscopic siege from sugar and acid.
And we learned that age 3 is the critical moment to call in the reinforcements.
Right, utilizing professional fluoride to chemically transform the enamel into fluorapatite, a molecular mortar that protects against decay, immense pain, and future orthodontic disasters caused by premature tooth loss.
We also moved past the outdated, generalized fears of giant foam trays, highlighting how modern, fast-acting sticky varnishes make the clinical process incredibly fast, tear-free, and highly effective by instantly adhering with the child's saliva.
Such a game changer. And we tackled the safety concerns head-on, confirming that in the hands of professionals, these highly calibrated localized doses are completely safe, even if a tiny residual amount happens to be swallowed.
Because it's all about controlled application.
Exactly. And finally, we looked at how finding a dedicated, technologically advanced dental home like OmniDental in Arlington Heights brings all this impressive science into a comfortable, environmentally conscious reality for the entire family.
It's the full package.
The ultimate takeaway for you, listening right now, is that investing in this targeted preventative care today is the single most effective, scientifically proven way to ensure a child enjoys strong, healthy teeth for their entire life. It is a small, painless step now that pays massive dividends forever.
It truly is foundational medicine. And, looking at the rapid evolution of these pediatric treatments, I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on.
Okay, it's that.
When we consider how targeted and efficient these sticky, saliva-activated fluoride varnishes have become compared to the clumsy trays of the past, it raises an incredible question about the future of biomaterials.
Okay, I'm listening.
Will we eventually see intelligent bioadaptive fluoride treatment?
Bioadapt?
Yeah. Imagine a smart resin that doesn't just coat the tooth, but can perfectly and autonomously mold to the unique microscopic grooves and deeper fissures of an individual child's specific tooth anatomy.
Wow, that sounds like sci-fi.
It does, right? But potentially sealing it so perfectly that childhood cavities become entirely a thing of the past.
That would be
It
amazing.
is an exciting frontier to think about the next time you brush.